Buenos días, buenas tardes, y buenas noches, bonjour, bonsoir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be, Jay Slater case. And I want to try to catch up on two things of many things that Noah Man on the ground in Tenerife has sent me over the last day or two. And different stories, but kind of interesting insights into both. Nothing earth shattering, but something that we've been following as a group, I think, and something that is worth reading carefully. Always read it carefully. Now, one or two people in our community have mentioned this case in the Canarian Weekly, I think it is, where some young people, teenagers, not in the Arona Adeje area, but north side of the island, La Orotava, were captured, were caught by police after throwing out of their car window a lot of MDMA tablets. So, it raised the question from one contributor, could the same thing have happened in the Jay Slater case? Because we heard, among the many rumours, that the source of the friction, the source of the problem in the Jay Slater case was narco substances that had gotten lost, gone missing, stolen. And this idea is worth contemplating. Dumped out of a window? Who knows what happens in the underworld, but it's worth thinking about. So, without any more ado, let me go to Canarian Weekly. The headline, actually, before I get into the headline, well, the headline is two arrested in Tenerife after throwing 200 ecstasy pills out of car window. That's the headline. We're going to read the article. It's not too long. But my eyes did drift across to the other headlines in this edition. Flight to Tenerife met by police after 12 disruptive passengers reported on board. My mind goes to a certain El Slugtardo and the AG. Possibly even some of those in the Duncan Slater family going over to celebrate year 2 of Jay's disappearance. We had that bizarre meeting this time last year, and that celebratory dinner, it looked like, very off and very odd. Have they flown back to Tenerife? Are they the 12 disruptive passengers? Well, joking aside, who knows? We don't know. Another headline, new disgusting anti-tourism graffiti appears in Tenerife. Might click on that later, but not for now. And how about this one? Canary Islands record biggest property price increase in Spain. Again, my ever conspiratorial mind goes to the likes of the Penningtons and some kind of nefarious market intervention that might be happening on that front. But hey, to be honest, property prices, rental prices in particular, seem to be going up and up and up globally. So maybe we can't pin that one on some great Pennington project. But back to the main issue at hand. Two arrested in Tenerife after throwing 200 ecstasy pills out of car window. How on earth did that happen? The Guardia Civil has arrested two people aged 18 and 19 after they were caught throwing 200 MDMA pills out of a car window when approaching a police checkpoint in Tenerife. So there we have the age, 18 and 19, takes us back to Brandon's age, Brad's age, Lucy's age, Jay's age. But of course, our little gang are way past that age now. They're all in their 20s, I believe. So it's not them. But, could well be some kind of newbies who replaced them. I actually think it's more likely to be Spanish kids in that part of the island, La Orotava. I don't know, but let's read on. The incident occurred while officers were conducting routine checks of people and vehicles in La Orotava. During the operation, the passenger of a passing car threw a bag out of the window when he saw the police presence, so the officers flagged them down and stopped them. I would imagine so. According to a statement released by the Guardia Civil yesterday, Saturday, subsequent checks revealed that the bag contained 200 MDMA pills, commonly known as ecstasy, with a net weight of 160 grams with the logo of a well-known luxury car brand on them. Okay. Anyone really informed in this area that knows what the well-known luxury car brand would be on them? During a search, Police also seized 2 mobile phones and their car before arresting them. The detainees, along with the evidence collected, were presented to the acting investigative court of Guardia de la Orotava, which has since ruled for the imprisonment of the 2 individuals involved. Now, this is what I find interesting. Because I think we got the impression that the Guardia Civil were very kind of hands-off with the teenagers and what might be going on in the underworld. You know, we all speculated that there's some kind of mafia payment going on here. The Guardia Civil turn a blind eye, they look the other way, and as long as it's not kind of violent, we let this thing happen. But here we have something that would seem to contradict that narrative, that these kids in the car, they throw the stuff out the window and they get imprisoned, like right away. Well, there we go. So, talk about 2 extremes there. And it did make me wonder if, word on the street when Jay, Brad and co were there is that, if you ever feel you're going to be caught in the act with, possession, just get rid of the stuff, whatever it takes. I don't know. But there we go. I think that is the article. I'm scrolling down to see what more there is there, but it seems that is it. All right. What do you think? The bag of narco substances that Jay apparently lost or got rid of, any chance that could be from a car or out a window? And that's how it went. I've no idea. Interesting. Right, let's see if we can find the other article, which is also about Tenerife. But this time it is about, it's a statement made by the mayor, or I should say, Mayoress. It is a lady, apparently, that is the Mayoress, Lady Mayoress, of that area where Veronica's strip is. Arona, Adeje. I get confused between those 2 areas. I think the border of Arona and Adeje municipalities is right by Papagayos. But anyway, let us have a look at what the Lady Mayoress said in an interview, and this is in Diario de Avisos. This one's in Spanish. I will put a link to both articles in the description to the video. I've got to find the section where it's talking about... Here it is, Veronica's strip. Yeah, un problema que adolece Arona es la zona de ocio nocturno de las Veronicas. So, more or less, a pain in the ass thing for Arona to deal with is this nighttime area, Las Veronicas. Hace unos días murió un hombre. A few days ago, a guy died there. Siempre queda la duda, and the doubt remains. ¿Por qué no se instalan cámaras? Why are cameras not installed there? We've been talking about this, and to some of us, it's just amazing that you have this very high volume, and I mean, it's got to be admitted, it's a high crime area, and yet the municipality itself has not set up a whole system of cameras to capture all this. Private businesses, private enterprises have, in some cases, put up on their own property cameras, but the call repeatedly from the small business owners, if you remember this from last time, is to have that whole strip, every inch of it monitored, and so it can be controlled, so the crime rate goes down. We've all speculated in our community, I think, that the big cheeses operating the narco rings there are pulling strings high up with the authority so that doesn't happen. And so we have this situation where the can is being kicked down the road. Now, Lady Mayoress talks about this, and it seems like she comes across as being very positive, like it's going to be resolved. Las vamos a colocar para 2027. So we're going to set them up. We're going to install these cameras in 2027. Well, there we go. Who could complain about that? Es una de nuestras prioridades. It's one of our priorities. Pero, como muchos contratos, es complicado. But, as with many contracts, it's complicated. And this is where I think, hang on, it really shouldn't be that complicated. I mean, I don't know anything about this business. This might be something that Chris Tenerife knows about, setting up CCTV surveillance. Is it that complicated, a contract for that? I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought what's complicated was the toing and froing between those that want it and those that don't. But let's see what Lady Mayoress says. Vamos a instalar cámaras en la zona de mayor riesgo. We're going to install cameras in the zone of greatest risk. Where would that be exactly? I mean, is that just outside one or two of these nightclubs? Is it the whole strip? I don't know. Vamos a instalar cámaras en la zona de mayor riesgo. Recuerda que íbamos a instalarlas al llegar. We were going to install them in the beginning, pero los permisos estaban caducando. Permission to do so expired y la tramitación estaba vencida. Time ran out, basically. Yeah, this rather weak excuse, but now Lady Mayoress is saying it is going to happen in 2027. Trabajamos mano a mano con los empresarios. We're working hand in hand with the business owners que están poniendo seguridad y cámaras privadas, and they are working on security and putting in their private cameras. Aún así, si no le pones medios, es una cadena que se va desencadenando. Yeah, if you don't do something about it, if you don't get this moving, it all starts to fall apart. We get that. This part is interesting. La respuesta fácil, the easy answer, sería decir que es competencia de la Policía Nacional y lavarnos las manos. So she's saying the easy thing would be just to say, well, it's up to, the National Police, Policía Nacional, and we wash our hands of it. Meaning, I think that she is prepared to not just step aside, but intervene in this. And she said, no, not at all. Mis policías locales, my local police, con todos los riesgos, with all the risks, entran ahí. They're the ones that go in there y colaboran con la Policía Nacional. My local police collaborate with the National Police y con la Policía Canaria, with the Canarian Police. Se hacen inspecciones de seguridad ciudadana con la nueva unidad canina. Now, this, I think, is good news. She's talking about inspections for the security of the citizens with a new canine unit. We love those dogs. As long as the dogs are on the right scent, they will tell you where the stuff is. There have been reports of late, I've been remiss and not reported on it, but there have been reports of late of dog units sniffing out in the back rooms of some of these nightclubs where the narco substances are kept. So this is a wonderful idea. Get the dogs on the right trail. Shame it never happened in the Masca Mountains or at the Airbnb, but it seems like they do have the dogs that can help out on Veronica's strip. So yeah, thumbs up for that idea. Let the dogs go in there and sniff out where the trouble spots are as far as narco storage goes. What else does it say? There's something at the end that really stuns me. Las Veronicas nos afecta a todos. So Veronica's strip affects all of us. No tanto por el vecino de aquí, not only the neighbors around here, sino por la imagen, but also for the image y la repercusión que tiene ese tipo de noticia, the consequence or the repercussions of this type of news. And she's talking about the bad news, like the guy that died in an attack the other day. Es un desgraciado, and this is the bit that made me think, hang on a second, I don't agree with her here. Es un desgraciado accidente. It's an unfortunate accident que puede pasar, talking about the death of someone, in a bar after a fight. Es un desgraciado accidente que puede pasar en cualquier punto de la geografía. It's an unfortunate accident that can happen anywhere in the world. No, that's what worries me about this. If you're one of those shoulder shruggers that just says, well, this can happen anywhere in the world, I'm not really sure that it's unique to this area. We've heard this from Chris Pennington, who seems to kind of embrace the narco world with that shoulder shrugging, saying, well, yeah, what was his phrase? It rains in Manchester. Narco substances are dealt with on the street in Tenerife. It's like, what's the big deal? Happens everywhere. Well, it doesn't, actually. It doesn't. I mean, you can go wandering around a big city like Tokyo, and you're not going to find people being beaten to death by bouncers, beaten up by bouncers, beaten to death by drunken Brit visitors. You're not going to find people doing balloons openly on the street. So no, Lady Mayoress, it doesn't happen everywhere. It is particularly bad in certain corners where the law has been left to either look away or deal with it when it gets really badly. So that's where I am I'm really surprised she would have said that. So thumbs up for the K9 units going in, thumbs up for the idea that 2027 will see cameras all along that strip, so every illegal activity will be captured. But how will it be enforced? Now, I mean, man on the ground, Noah, has spoken to me about this, and it's just very sceptical. I mean, you've got to hand it to the people that live there and know that this has been going on for a long time. And Noah's basically out there saying, "I'll believe it when I see it." If 2027 rolls around and all of this is in place, and the local mafia have been told it's going to happen, shut up. So be it. But until it happens, I think word on the street is remain skeptical. But there we are. That's an update. At least now we know the plan is, from Lady Mayoress, 2027. It's going to all change. Everything that happens there will be recorded, and no crooks will get away with any bad behaviour. All right, I am going to leave it there. Lots more to do, maybe not today, but certainly tomorrow. So I say hasta luego, adios, hasta la vista. See you next time.